As a publicist or as a PR person, as I call myself, I think the first rule to the game is you have to know the business, because everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants to be famous, but nobody wants to learn the ropes of the game, nobody wants to do the business, nobody wants to do the dirty work. So I think as a team, we have collectively decided that to be able to tell you how to become rich and famous, we have to kind of share some of the lessons we've learned while in the business. And when I mean business, I mean 360. So it's the image, it's the branding, it's the distribution, it's the licensing, it's the touring, it's the merchandise, and so on and so forth. So I think you guys have already had the small intros of who does what and where they're from. So maybe the panelists can go a little deeper regarding where they're from and what that business entails, because like Steve is from Trace, and as you already know, Trace opened a new Trace Mziki, which was supposed to be catering to the music, exclusively music from East Africa. So how has that business been, and what does that mean for your business? You know, where's the reach for you and stuff like that? And Trace has also been supporting artists, events, so it's not just about the music videos you see, but it's more than that. So, Steve.
Thank you very much, Anyiko, for the introductions. We had a very interesting discussion with the panelists inside the little room just before we came in. But yeah, just to talk about the topic at hand, we thought the topic was a bit off and we should start backwards. But then just to lend in a bit of what I've learned in this industry for the 18 odd years I've been in the media. Recently, I think it starts before you look at the money. So for me, it's about the product. So as an artist, like, do you have a product that is sellable out there? And is someone willing to pay some money, you know? Is someone willing to pay some money to, you know, to buy your product and whatever? So it goes just beyond looking at the money. If you jump in, like, looking at the money, then I think it will take a long time. You need to understand, just like Anyiko said, to understand the business. So are you in the music industry or in the music business? So from our little own ways, I think just like Anyiko mentioned, a year ago we launched a very interesting product for East Africa that's called Trace Mziki. And basically, this is an international platform for East Africa, you know, to allow East African artists to take their product out there. So this is a marketing platform for all artists who can get their music videos in there. And it's quite interesting because Trace Mziki right now is beating all other Trace channels in terms of ratings. When I was pushing this, I think 2 years back, I pushed it for almost 3 years to be allowed to launch a brand for East Africa. And right now it has exploded. In 3 months only, it became the #1 music channel in East Africa. And right now we've consolidated that. And actually we've earned 30 percentage points. I was just looking at the ratings the other day. We've earned 30 percentage points in December over Trace Niger, which basically plays Nigerian music. So that shows that there's a product in East Africa that artists can use to work with and monetize, you know, their product. But then it starts with the product as an artist. As an artist, do you have something that is sellable that people are willing to buy out there? So do you practice your art? You know, have you perfected your art good enough, you know, to put it out there? Do you have a team around that product that will push it? I think Anyiko does a lot of work. She normally harasses me with you know, submissions and stuff. And she's one of the people, you know, in the industry that are quite important in the back there, because they help the artists get their products in the right places where people can actually look at them and basically, you know, see if they can monetize it. I think there's a lot to be said. I'll let the other panelists contribute first before we get deeper into the topic as well.
Okay, I think I'm going to throw the ball over to Virginia, who can also speak a little bit about even the name of your company. Very interesting. You know, don't trust the hype, because some people trust the numbers even on social media, and they think because I have 100,000 followers, I don't need PR, you know, because I can already just talk to my fans via Instagram. And the other thing that I thought about you, Steve mentioned, was people around you who can help you achieve what you want to achieve, because we spoke about that in the back room, and you mentioned that we must invest in ourselves as artists, as professionals in the industry. So what does that mean? Because I know the challenge of many people who are upcoming is like, I can't afford Anyiko, or I can't afford being signed under MOB, or I can't call Grace because I don't have her number. But at what level can you start to invest in yourself?
I created Don't Believe the Hype in 2011, I think, or 2010. Actually, I launched MySpace. I don't know if you remember MySpace, maybe? So I launched MySpace in France and MySpace Music in Europe. It was, 2003, 2004. I've been in this industry for 20 years now. Yes, I'm old. Also, so I decided to launch the company after MySpace, because when I worked for MySpace, I really thought, and I was really convinced, that thanks to the internet, artists won't need any more record label, artists won't need any more digital distribution, artists will only use MySpace. But MySpace changed a lot. Really, it's because of MySpace that we have digital distribution now, that we have SoundCloud, that we have a lot of products on the internet. Without MySpace, I don't think that we'll have all those products. But I decided to launch it because in 2011, well, it's not so easy for the artist. And the artist can't do it by himself, everything. It's just impossible. That's why I decided to launch the agency, but I also decided to launch a blog about music marketing, because same thing, you need to be educated. You need to understand how to use social media. You need to understand what is a contract. You need to understand what is publishing, what is licensing. So before being rich and famous, you need to work a lot. But when I say a lot, it's a lot. In the previous panel, we talked about music education. It's the same. If you want to be rich and famous, you need to be good, as you said, with a good product, but also you need to understand the market. And when I say to understand the market, it's you need to know by heart your market. You need to know what is a contract. You need to know what is a licensing contract. You need to know your brand. So it means you really need to work, and you really need to work before. About the team, it's when you start from scratch, well, I fully understand that you don't have money. Really, it's the same for all of us. When you start your company, when you don't have money. When I start my company, basically I had nothing, only my savings. So, well, it's just extremely difficult. But if you want to become, once again, rich and famous, it means that you need to know your market. So you need to go on social media, and you need to produce your music, and you need to have maybe advices from a sound engineer, or maybe from an artistic director about your music. And you also need to understand the datas and deep datas, and also maybe to send some emails. And it's not your job. When I say not your job, it's you have so many things to do. So yes, it's better to have a team, at least maybe a friend, fan, manager. But the question, it was a discussion that we had in the back room. The question is how to pay them, because they won't work for free. So that's why when you start, and I did the same thing with my company. I start my blog, and I worked maybe 20 hours a day, really, seriously. And in 7 years, I wrote 2 books and 500 articles about music marketing, and I run my company, and it was really a mess and extremely complicated, because maybe you heard about that, but now we have the word music entrepreneur, because entrepreneur it's a French word. That's why I C'est entrepreneur, the French way, sorry. But it's music entrepreneur. It means that you are like an entrepreneur. You have to think about your music like a company, like building your own company, because you have to think about your music. And then you have to think about how to produce your music, and then how to give some visibility to your music. Also, maybe you want to work with a record label, because maybe you don't want to work with a record label. Now it's not really a question, because you have the choice. Also, in Kenya, you are very lucky, if I can say lucky, because you can have an international expansion. You can go outside Kenya, you can go in the rest of Africa, but you can go also in Europe and in the US. Because the 5 more important markets in the world, it's US, UK, Japan, France, and Germany. So you can also think about the rest of the world because of the diaspora, because of many things. So that's why it's, and you said about the team, that's why it's not so easy, because you have your music, but then also you have to understand all your market. And for me, you just can't become rich and famous if you are not educated about business, if you don't spend time in understanding your business, and if you don't spend time in understanding how you can build your visibility and build your brand. I was long, sorry.
Thank you so much. So Thibault and Space, I want to talk to you guys about music and distribution. What does Idol do as a distribution company, and what does music distribution entail? Because I find that many artists sometimes come to the PR and they maybe haven't had their song even on even SoundCloud, and it's just like, how am I going to do your PR if I can't even have a link to share your song? So there's more to it other than SoundCloud and Facebook, and sorry, not Facebook, but like YouTube. So I mean, I know even Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook in music.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, like apart from that, what are the other avenues, and how do you get distributed? How do you make the money?
First, maybe to clarify a bit, what can you expect from a digital distribution partner, as a label or as an artist also, because you can, as an artist, deal directly with a distribution company or an aggregator, if you want to call it that. Well, you have. We were actually talking about different profiles of distribution companies. You have like the ones that really focus on the technical aspect of getting the content available on the platforms, on the music services, streaming services, on the relevant ones mainly. And you have also distributors that focus on a marketing approach where they don't stop there. They're gonna try to get visibility on the platforms, and to do so, they're gonna rely on promotion, basically. Like I think the initial way to approach this panel was promotion and branding in the digital age. Well, yeah, it's crucial. Promotion is crucial, because what Idol is gonna do, for example, if we release an album from, I'm based in South Africa, so I'm gonna maybe take some South African examples. Releasing Spook Matambo's album, like an electronic music album, we can have an international reach there, so we can work on the local scale, we can work also on the US markets. As Virginie was saying, the strong markets, the US, UK, France, they have a very strong African diaspora, so there is also like a real interest in focusing on those markets for African artists. And so what we're gonna do is get the information quickly, as fast as possible, to the right person at the right time. If you have a show, if you have like a TV show on I don't know, in Germany, or you're visiting or in South Africa or anything, we're gonna try to get to the platform, talk to the right person, and maybe find a place in a playlist that is going to be followed by a lot of followers and that is going to generate income because it's going to be at the top of the playlist and 600 followers are going to be notified of that new arrival in your playlist. So that this is a way for us to do our job, or on a release day have, you know, presence on the homepage of any website or streaming service. It's also very important. We're going to use what a PR is going to get as results to get results and visibility online. And like the whole idea is to have the biggest presence online anyway, so that you can convert it into revenues, into streams. So that's basically how you're gonna, what you can expect from your distribution partner. But then a lot of different profiles exist, and you have to find the right one. And this is where Virginie is right when she says you have to educate yourself and know your markets and know where to start and know who's going to be the right, maybe booking agent at some point, the right management if you at some point you need one, the right label if you need one, the right distribution partner if you need one, and like there's an infinity of scenarios anyway.
For me, I look at distribution very differently because I think it's all about strategy. Because I won't bother distributing my product to someone who I'm not interested in, you know? And we overthink distribution, so we take this product and splash it into the world and hope someone is going to see it and pick it up and use it. I mean, if you look at Ferrari's slogan, it's built for speed, and Volvo is built for safety. So they know who's going to buy a Ferrari and who's going to buy a Volvo. And unfortunately, we look at music very differently. It is a product. So I write a song and call it Surayako. And if I'm just going to splash it out there and hope someone is going to see it, yet the person whom I want to consume my product is seated and I know exactly where they are, what they're doing, and how I can reach them. For me, I look at distribution like that. It's all about strategy. I always wonder when politicians are campaigning, like last year, we had a general election. And unfortunately, YouTube or all these streaming services, I think they've made the musicians or the labels or the content providers so blind, because most conversations I see on WhatsApp groups are, Willie Paul has just launched a song, and the first thing someone asks is, how many views does it have? Ask yourself, last year, all of us here, if you're Kenyan, you either voted for an MP, a governor, a president, a senator, an MCA, a woman rep. Did you look for their views on YouTube? Now, if you voted in Kakamega or Bungoma, somehow you knew you're a senator, and they reached you, and you put X or you ticked that box. How did they reach you? We overthink marketing. It's strategy. You get, that senator reached you, they marketed their policy, they told you what they'll do for you. They lied, of course, but they said we'll build roads. I'll give you a dispensary. Then you voted. Do they have views? They don't. Part of what my company does is below the line marketing. So we do a lot of activations. And our clients, it's what Pesa or Safaricom tell us, guys, go here and market this product, and this is the viewing of this game. And we're in Meru. They do not care about your views. But we reach them, we activate, they'll buy that Bamba 50 or Bamba 20, and they go back home. So why are we seated in Nairobi in big corner offices overthinking marketing and distribution? If you know where your guy is, and that's why I think especially popular artists or contemporary urban musicians will lose it. I load my song on YouTube, and then my distributor tells me I put it on Spotify, it's over here, it's on Tidal or wherever, iTunes, and then you sit. So every month you ask, so have we sold? No. Okay. Next month, have we sold? Yes, 2 guys downloaded. Yet there's Eunice Njeri or Lois Kim who'll chuck a song, put 2 speakers on a pickup, and then go to Kirinyaga. She'll camp there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday she'll have a big concert on Thika Stadium. She'll sell 200,000 or whatever number of records. Then all those guys in that concert have a ringback tone. So, of course, she's making more color than you on Skiza or any other platform. And then everyone in that village respects her, so I want to activate. I'm brand X, and I want to sell for guys in Kirinyaga, in Nyeri, in Meru, in Maua. Who's the biggest selling artist there? You guys in Nairobi will tell me client, artist X, BY, because they have a flashy video, they have 2 million, 5 million views, but the client has data. The client has statistics. They know it's low scheme. So they won't bother asking you the question. They tell you now, call Lois Kim, get her, put her on an activation track, and sell for me this product. She didn't bother about views. All you guys have gadgets. Look at many of those artists with Arau. We us guys of Nai. You get? But she knows her brand. She knows her clients. She knows where they are. She knows how to reach them. She will not bother selling her music to you guys. She won't come to Sarit Center to activate. Distribution is strategy. It's just knowing where your client is, where they seated, how do I reach them? And I think in music business, we overthink it. Yes, trace is important. We all know that because you need media, you need publicity, you need that reach. Guys need to consume your product. That's why we write music and produce it, of course. But is that the only avenue? How beautiful will it be if you have those 5 million views and still you sell volumes to the guys you can reach? Now, ask yourself, how did you vote your governor in? Did you see them on TV? Did they put up an ad? Do they have views? Do they have content on YouTube? No, but you still voted. You're in Kisii, or you're in Lamu, or you're in Diani. You still voted as senator. How did they reach you? Isn't that distribution?
Yeah. Please give me how you reach 5 million views. Please tell me how you reach 5 million views so easily. No, I agree with you, but it means, I don't think we overthink at all. I mean, not here. But if you want to reach your clients, your customers, you need to know your market. So you need to work on it. So you need and we go back to datas. And also, I think it's quite important to use digital distributors. But I agree with you. If you don't work, if you wait for your video on YouTube or Spotify or other platforms, and if you do nothing, it won't work. I fully agree with you. So but you also have to say that it takes a lot of time, and you have to work a lot for knowing your audience and for activate everything, and you have to write newsletter also, and you also have to reach the right. We talk about blogs. And maybe radio also. So you also need to do a lot of activities if you want to activate. So I won't say that it's so easy, but I agree with you fully. And also, if you can tell me and tell us how you reach the 5 million views so easily, I would be very happy. But yeah, about radio,
you want to say something?
All right. It's dope that you mentioned data, because data is my area of business. So we've set up an online magazine by the name of AfricaBeat that basically charts music. We've been monitoring radio streams since February of 2017, and we'll be publishing weekly charts as of March. Right now, if you visit our stand at stand 54, I believe you can look at the top performing songs on Kenyan radio in the year of 2017. Data is important, and data is overlooked at the same time, specifically in this market. It's very superficial data, let me say. Like Space mentioned, it's the YouTube numbers that kind of gives you credibility. YouTube numbers are not a very accurate way of measuring impact. It's one of the ways, but it's not very accurate. You have to consider radio, which I think is still very important in this market. You have to consider TV, and you have to consider on-the-ground impact. And by that, I mean being on the road. Who are the artists who are performing? And are people showing up to their shows? That's how you can really measure impact. And so what AfricaBeat essentially represents is a conversation. We basically trying to curate a conversation where the whole industry can pay attention. It doesn't matter whether you listen to Kenyan rock or reggae or hip-hop or gospel or whatever it is that you might be listening to. Now there's a chart where you can measure impact, where you can see who's the best performing. You know, it will basically drive competitiveness within the artist, such that, and also a call to action from the consumer. So if your favorite artist is number 5 at a chart, there's a call to action. You know, you either request the song on radio, you buy it on any of the platforms it's available. That data is also being taken. You stream it, you know, or you just go to their show. We're basically trying to change the conversation and promote entrepreneurship from the artist. This is what I believe happens most times. Artists in this market are services for hire. Artists are not generating enough revenue with their own products. They're manufacturing hype. So when you get the 1 million views on YouTube, Safcom or whoever can still reach you because it looks like you're popping. Your video's been trending all week. So they give you some money. It might not be much. It might not be a partnership. It's service for hire. But when an artist can release a single and generate maybe even $5,000 from that single and video, when someone comes to talk to you about business, it's a whole different conversation. Then you can't give me peanuts for brand association. Because I generate my own money, I don't really need your money, but we can talk about a partnership. So I think that's the kind of attitude that we need to push, and that's the kind of content that we're trying to curate at AfricaBeat. Shameless plug, africabeat.co.ke.
Okay, so now I'd like to hear from Kerongo because she's an editor, she's a journalist, she's a publicist, and for that reason, she's, first, not for that reason, but she's been in the industry for so long. I think when I joined the industry, she was already there. And it's always good to be a PR person with a media background because you know how the media works and you know how to spin your PR. So maybe, Grace, if you could just say something about how do artists, how do products, how do projects, how do businesses need to brand themselves to fit what PR is looking for and for what media is looking for. Because sometimes an artist comes and they think just because they can pay the PR, then they're going to be number one. But it doesn't work like that because sometimes someone even comes and says, I want a media tour. They pay you for a media tour. You take them to the station and the journalist asks, so what is your song about? I just wrote it when I was chilling. It's like, what is the song about? Are you in a relationship? I can't say that. So it's just like you have the PR, you have the media, but are you really selling the product the way it should be? It's not enough just to hire a publicist or to be on the Star. What is the Star saying about you? So you are on Daily Nation. What did they write about you? Are we newsworthy enough? Do we know what the media is looking for? Do you care to research and to know, like, what do my fans usually ask me, you know? They're saying, I want to see a collabo with Calligraph. You should do a collabo because your fans are asking you that, or are you just putting out a song because you had this song for the past 3 years and you just decided to put it out now? Like, we also have to go with the times and eras and the trends. So maybe, Kerongo, you can respond to that.
Okay. So, as a musician, first before you get the product, you get the distribution, the marketing, the visibility, and for you to get data, you need to have a brand. Who are you? So you have a voice. So who are you? What kind of music do you want to put out? What kind of person do you want people to know you are? How long can you sustain that brand? Because for me as a journalist, I'm looking for a brand. What's special about your brand? What is it that I can write about your brand that is different from the next person you're seated next to? Why do you think Diamond is a big brand right now? It's because he knew he's singing about love, so he's going to give you love throughout heartbreak. Look at his Instagram. It's about heartbreak, cheating, getting back in love with a wife, dumping the wife, being a baby daddy. That's all about love. That's his brand. That's who he is. That's who he's selling. So before you start music, ask yourself, what are you selling? Toni Braxton was selling heartbreak. She sang about heartbreak. Everything about her music was heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak this, heartbreak that. So before you even come up with a product, who are you? Do you understand who you are? Because there are two people. There's you, and then there's the brand you're putting out. It's important to know who you are before you put out a brand. Because you get into music, you don't know who you are. You have this brand. People tag you a certain way, and then you end up breaking down and not being able to handle the pressure because you don't know who you are and who your brand is. So for media people, we are always looking for that special brand. What's special about you? What's not special? What's different about you from any other person? Another thing, it's easy to come up with a brand if you know yourself. And once you know your brand, it's easy. Just show me, everyone, show me your phones. Everyone has a smartphone. You can build your brand using your smartphone. Everything, Google Play has a free logo maker. Google Play has a free how to make flyers and all that. You don't have to pay someone if you're on a budget. You can make your own logo. You can push your own music. You can go on all social media and start pushing your brand. You can shoot videos with your phone, put it on social media. At the end of the day, you'll create your own community. And once you create a community, that community will relate to your brand. And those are your first fans. So coming up, building a community is the fastest way of fast selling your music to already a community that you already know, and they know what your brand is. And then from there, now you continue growing your community. That's how to be famous 101.
You can clap, it's fine. Steve, you want to add something?
Yes, I was listening to some interesting point that was coming through across from the panel, and I wanted to react to them quickly. I think what Space has raised is quite interesting, but there are two angles of looking at it. As an artist, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to go out and explode as well? So you have to determine that when you're coming out. So basically, it's our corporates actually has also limited our artists to what they can do in a certain way, in a certain sense, because they look at it in terms of their short-term needs and what your brand can achieve for them in the shortest duration of time. So then, what Space is saying is quite important, and that's, I can categorize it under what you call ATL. That's, BTL, below the line. So that is direct marketing. You get your impact, and you market it and get your money out, and you're out of that place. Then there's what you call above the line marketing, where now you go big on social media, you go big on broadcast media and stuff like that. So what we were trying to do by creating, like, say, Trace Mziki, for example, was basically trying to give an artist a platform where they can take their art and music beyond borders and monetize it. So the numbers, it now goes back to what Virginie was raising. How do you monetize the numbers once you have the numbers? Why is Nigerian music so big? I studied this for quite some time, and basically, these guys were hustlers. They were pushing their music right from the grassroots on top of the media, and I found that all the decision makers in all the big brands, music brands, were actually Nigerians. And what did they do? They made sure that it's the Nigerian product that goes out fast, okay? And they made sure that the Nigerian music has gone everywhere, and right now it's everywhere, and now they're monetizing it through shows. They're monetizing it by selling records. You know, if Wizkid can fill a hall in London right now, they're monetizing their music. In the same level, now I can actually categorize them as A-listers because they're performing in the same level as the Drakes, you know. So basically, how do you then package yourself? And what's your target? Are you like satisfied on just being at the grassroots, making your quick money and out? Do you want your music to go long term? So how do you monetize your brand? At what level? So it's very important, and I think you need both, because basically what Space raised, actually sometimes as an artist you need to do that to get to the next level. So when you make the quick money, then how do you use that quick money to go to the next level as well? So then if you're satisfied by making the quick money, eating it, and then you go out of sync, then that's a choice as well. But then it's a conundrum, because as an artist, when you're starting out, how do you get this team around? I think we discussed that around the table. How do you create a team? I think it's very important as an artist for you to get someone who believes in you. Like, even if it's just one person. I just want to give you like an example. 7 years ago, we started an experiment. I was in the country. Back then, I was still based in South Africa. Then I came down and I attended one of the parties. And I saw one DJ, and from the way he was playing, basically I was like, this guy is going to go somewhere, and I want to build this guy. So I looked for him, and I had a sit down, and then I gave him one challenge. I told him, hey, go get yourself a passport. Then after, I think, 2-3 weeks, he came and he was like, okay, here's a passport. You asked me to get a passport. We built that brand over 7 years right now. And I was happy to see the other day when I saw ratings of the 100 most influential people in Kenya, he was actually number 50, and he was the only DJ on that list. That's a DJ John Falme, if you guys have heard of him. So I believed in that boy from day one, and he had the professionalism and he had the talent. And basically, even right now, if you look at John Falme, he's a brand. So corporates look for him because he's a brand. He positions himself as that. He has invested in his social media. And he started out very hard, because I used to watch him play and used to take pictures and tweet, and post on Facebook and Instagram while playing. And I told him, no, Joe, this cannot happen. Let's get, like an enthusiastic boy somewhere, and he does for you social media. Right now, he's exploded. He has the numbers on social media. The brands are looking for him, because when he comes to play at your show, he's not only just playing well, which he does, and his art is professional, he's there always on time, he delivers, and he also gives you social media exposure. So then, how do you build this brand from I think it's important to get one person, even if it's your mother, who believes in you and can
so
give you...
the mother.
yes. I think it's very important in that sense. And then going to your point on YouTube numbers, I think as a music channel, for example, I'll tell you for sure that we can tell when an artist is buying views, while even if we can tell whether the artist is buying views or the numbers are growing organically. Because I know, for example, they're big artists, and I can tell they're buying views as well. Because, they're investing in their brand in the sense that they want their numbers to grow even, so they're buying views on YouTube and stuff. So for us, what we've done at Trace is we have a music committee that really looks at a song. We can get it wrong sometimes, but most of the time we get it right, like say 90% of the time. And we can tell when a song is growing organically or someone is buying views. We can easily tell by the rate at which the views are growing. So normally you cannot, an artist can come to us and say, hey, why aren't you playing my song because I have 1 million views on YouTube? We tell him, no, we think the song doesn't work. Sometimes we are wrong, but most of the time we get it right. So as an artist, if you go buying views because you wherever, someone can tell through those numbers as well, because we can read what the numbers tell us from where we are. And basically, if I want to know if a song works, I can ask someone in the panel, and basically know, like Space is a DJ. There's a track you listen to and you know it's gonna work, even the first time you listen to it before it even has 1 view, or when it's already, or somebody who's just pushing and buying views online. So it depends on how you package it. And that's why we created Trace Mziki, because I felt that basically Kenyan music right now needs a platform that takes them internationally, sells that product. It's no longer feasible for Kenyan artists just to, play within Kenya and East Africa. It's now time they take their brand, and basically the platform is there. Right now we've also developed an app called Trace Play. This is basically targeting people in the diaspora. So now it means a Kenyan in the US can watch your song here. Then it means if your song is good, you can get a show in the US and monetize it in that way. And we are not only just doing that. As Trace, we also do events where we call artists, and as an artist, you also have to learn the music business. There's the music business and the music industry. It's not enough to just be in the music industry, get all the hype, be famous, and you don't have money in your pocket. So what do? You have to learn how to do barter deals, because as an artist, like one of the panelists said, you're a brand and you're a product. So how do you market your product? Sometimes it's not just the upfront money you look at. You have to do what you call barter deals with the big brands. Sometimes it doesn't make you money upfront, but then how much are you investing in your marketing as an artist, as a brand? So basically, sometimes we do events, we call artists, when there's a budget, we pay them, and we tell them, okay, let's pay you at not a market rate, but then we're gonna shoot for you a video, we're gonna put it on, we're gonna shoot you an interview, put you in the channel, and basically market you. You understand? So in that way, you're also investing in, you're putting your art, even though you don't have the money, but you're putting your art and making your art buy for you marketing dollars. So it depends. How then, the art of monetizing your numbers is quite complicated. And I think an artist like Virginie rightly said, you have to have a team around you. And that's where the Anyikos come and the lady right next to me. You have to have these people who understand the music business and basically can push you out there and make it work. So I think that's quite important, Anyiko, and yeah.
About YouTube, just about the fake views. YouTube is deleting now the videos, so if you buy fake views. So you have to be very careful, because it's the same thing on Facebook. But YouTube, I don't know, maybe not now in Kenya, but in Europe, in the US, I mean everywhere in the world, they are able to see that you bought fake views, and they delete your video, and they also delete your channel, and so you have to be very, very careful with that. And also, I won't say now that you can build a career and your visibility and your brand on social media. Not at all. Because Facebook is now changing its algorithm, which means that your page won't be seen anymore on the news feed. It's over. So it means that you spent maybe time and money on building your page, but now your friend won't be able to see anymore your page, because they are changing their algorithm now. So, unless you pay, you're right, unless you pay a lot of money. On Instagram, it's going to be the same thing. On Twitter, I mean, Twitter is very cool, but in terms of visibility, it's not. It's okay because, I mean, you can reach people, but it's not a lot. So also you have to be very careful with social media, because, and it's the same thing with media. It's the same thing with corporate pages. It's exactly the same thing. You have to be very careful, because you can't build your career and your brand and your visibility on social media. Not. Because social media, they just don't care about you. Frankly, they don't care. So that's why you need to be very careful with that. And I mean, that's great if your friend have a lot of friends on his Facebook page. But now, it's over. It's only friends for friends. That's it. Unless, as you said, you pay. So that's why you need to be very, very careful. And about the brand, I fully agree with you about the brand, but it's very difficult to find your brand and to describe who you are. Because I remember I had discussion with artists, and they were not able just to introduce themselves, and just to say, I'm doing hip-hop. Okay, great. But and so it's very, very difficult. I think maybe you have tips, or I don't know, how do you work with them to help them to... Because it's very, very difficult. Sometimes it takes weeks for them to work on it.
I found out that the best way to find out what your brand is to look at who else is doing something similar to what you're doing. I can give an example of someone like Diamond. Diamond started out like an Usher knockoff, because he knew he wanted to do R&B, he wanted to sing about love. But with time, you grow and you find yourself, but you always have to have like a baseline. What do you want? What do you like? Who do you look up to? Then from there, try and model yourself based on that. Then with time, you find yourself.
I'm going to add something on what Kerongo said. For me, I always tell my artists, and if I don't tell them as a PR person, I try to find the star in them. It's very hard for artists to come to a radio station and be like, my name is Anyiko and I'm a superstar. But there's some who do that. Like, there are artists who've achieved so much that they don't have a problem talking so highly of them. Some artists will come to you and tell you, I am a superstar. Nobody keeps me waiting. It's because they know that it is this brand that's making me money. It's this brand that has brought a team of 50 people to Africa to do something. And they carry themselves as a business because they know if you're going to treat me as if I'm not a business, I will tell you that I am a business. So I think the very first way of defining your brand and who you are is knowing that you are the business. If you don't take yourself as a business, I don't think your manager is going to take you as a business anymore. And then if you see that I'm a business, you should be ambitious with your business and think, okay, if I'm to have a brand, where do I see this brand? So like what Kerongo said, you first look around you and be like, I'm a musician. What do I sing? Maybe R&B. How many other people are singing R&B? How different is my R&B from another person's R&B? And sometimes artists will even define themselves as a hip-hop artist, but actually they're doing R&B. I think even if you go to this album by Wizkid, the sounds from the other side, if you check how it is tagged on iTunes, I think it's saying pop and R&B or something. It's not even saying AfroBeat. Because when he enters that space of world music, like when you enter Apple Music, there's audiences that are just like flowing in there and they're just looking for hip-hop, R&B. So as an artist who you know you have to sell your brand or sell your music, you don't want to limit yourself to one thing. So sometimes, that's what Kerongo was saying, you must know who you are and you must know what your brand is. Someone like Whitney Houston, for the beginning of her entire career, she never wrote any of her songs. She never liked that kind of pop music. But the moment the record label executives saw her, saw the way she looked, had her voice, they wrote her all this music that they knew was going to sell. But that wasn't who she was. But that was the brand they built. That's the brand that made her money. And at some point, she realized, I've made my money. I've been able to tour. I've been able to become #1. I've won all these Grammys. Now I want to do me. I want to write my own music. So I think it's very important to determine who am I, where do I want to go, and how can this brand facilitate my business? We also need to be ambitious. I think many Kenyan artists are always complaining, saying this, that, in this market. How many of you are looking at themselves beyond Kenya? I'm not saying that you should say, I'm going to live in Tanzania and never do anything in Kenya, but you should always look at business like this. If it doesn't work with this market, I have this option. If my fans didn't like this song, I can record another song. If this album was a flop, I can have another album. But many of you are very quick to give up or to be like, they refuse. Like, if you ask even, I think, Beyonce, I have not talked to her, but even if you ask her, like, all these people, they had challenges. And that's why when they finish one challenge, they move to a bigger challenge. I don't think it's easy to do, like, a world tour. But these artists end up doing world tours because they've done everything. You've not even done an East African tour, you've not done an African tour, and you're here complaining. So I think one thing we have to find in ourselves is, as we try to define who we are, what our brand is, we have to push the limits of our own ambition. And then I think we'll start taking questions.
Sorry, let me just add to that. I think what we're all saying in unison is just clarity, because a lot of we creatives or musicians are not clear what they want to achieve. So even that artist who's asked, what's your song about? And they don't know. They say, you know, I was just chilling and I decided to write the song. It's okay. You can just chill and write the song about, you know, Afroman wrote a silly song and it became a hit. But he was clear. That's what he wanted to write. You know, I think clarity is really key. I mean, when we all know Tom Watson's story, IBM, when he was asked how did he manage to make IBM so big. And he said when they were like 3 or 4 people at IBM, they were so clear what they wanted to achieve. And from the onset, IBM had to start operating like a multinational, from the systems to structures, to vision, to strategy, to ideas. You know, I think that's really important. A lot of musicians are not clear with what they want. You know, when you hang out with the successful Kenyan artists from Sauti Sol to Nyashinsky, you know, one thing that is very clear, they don't just wake up and do stuff. You know, they don't just release a song, they think about it, they'll think about the lyrics, they'll think about the mixing and mastering, who are we targeting, how do we market it. Even Anyiko, Grace, as PR professionals, you know, the brief that they work with, either from them or from the client, has to have clarity. You know, what's this song about? How are we going to push this song? By the time the song goes on to Trace, even in terms of hours, you know, Trace TV has different types of shows. You know, from the countdowns to just entertainment shows. That segmentation comes about due to clarity. I think clarity is really key. And then something else, yes, there's a bit of luck to that success. But then again, the teams, from your management team to your placement team in terms of publishing or PR. I mean, everyone here knows James Blunt, the song Beautiful. And that song was nothing until Hilton took it up and put it on their ad. And it, I think, contributed to about 60% of sales. And world over, we were all singing that song. I mean, Valentine's started playing from the 10th to the 18th. You know, and James Blunt became big. But someone had to reach Hilton. Someone had to place that song or to, you know, advocate or campaign for you. So from PR agents to publishing, sometimes you just can't guess stuff. I look at music business like academics. If you walk into an exam room and she studied and I haven't studied, I'll keep looking at her the whole time, hoping she'll look back at me and she's going to whisper an answer. Sometimes music business is like that. If you don't have your knowledge, like Arthur says, you know, data or networks, you know, that reach or that PR agent who can tell you, no, you're going about this the wrong way, you know, or we'll talk to client A, B, C, and stuff like that. So it's hard to achieve that without clarity. And sometimes strategy is not a 400-page document. It's just one pager, just saying this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'll go about it in point form, and these are the guys I'm going to work with. I think sometimes we do overthink it. Also, if I may plug in, just as I was thinking when everyone is speaking, and since the topic is how to get rich and famous, I think, yeah, sometimes we can take so much time to discuss music as a product, but maybe we get it all wrong. I think it's time artists or creatives started thinking of their product or how to sell things using their music. You know, we all know there are people who are doing it right now. The world moved to Beats by Dre. The world moved to C-Rock or Revolt TV by Diddy. You know, Diamond has just brought us guys peanuts, you know, and chicks are buying them even if they don't like Jugu Karanga. Maybe it's about time creatives or musicians started thinking of hardware that we can sell using our music, you know. Trace TV, NTV, KTN, any media house doesn't sell music, but there's music shows. Think about it. What else can we sell using our music as a product? You know, maybe music is becoming secondary as much as we are creatives and we are so selfish and passionate about the content we produce. So you want to stick and say, you know, my jam is a hit. I want to sell 1 million records. Jay-Z didn't become rich by going platinum. You know, if you look at what the deals Rock Nation had with Live Nation and the publishing deals they signed, if you look at when Diddy sold Sean John, you know, $70 million, it didn't come from sales of records. By the time these guys go up the Forbes list, there's hardware they're selling, but it's coming from their music. But music is not the product, you know. Sometimes I feel like we sit and have conversations about how to sell music, but I think from a PR angle, how can we use the music to leverage and create partnerships with other products? We all go onto YouTube. Go to YouTube right now. When an ad pops up, tell me whether the ad popped up when a documentary came on or a sermon by TD Jakes. It probably popped up when a song was just about to play. It tells you music is the highest consumed product in the world.
Okay, so we're going to take some questions from the audience. It doesn't have to be a question. It can be a statement or a sentiment. So, yes. At the very first row, we have a hand up.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know your view on it, but I think here there's a kind of McDonald's attitude towards music production. Like, people are producing songs at the fast pace without the quality and the thought. Not so much I'm talking about production quality here, I'm talking about the lyrics, the arrangement, the whole kind of works. They're on a McDonald's journey and then wondering why they don't get rich and famous, when in fact they ought to be on a gourmet journey where every aspect of it is properly researched and thought about, including the marketing and everything around it. And I just wonder what you guys thought about that.
All right. I'd say culture has a lot to do with it. There are two things that are very flawed in our society, and that's quality control and proper documentation. If I can ask, let me ask this guy. Do you know Jay-Z's first album? No. You? No. All right, wrong crowd. But chances are that a kid in Kenya knows Jay-Z's first album and doesn't know Kalamashaka's. You understand? So there's always been a disconnect when it comes to cultural continuity. We don't celebrate our heroes. We don't hold them to high standards. Musicians are thought leaders. They're opinion leaders. So I think this is a problem that began a long time ago, just by not acknowledging or not uplifting the people who set the tone for what the industry is today. And to fix it, it just needs acknowledgement first. We have to acknowledge that we do have a problem, and from there we can figure it out.
From the media perspective, I've seen that a lot. I get a lot of McDonald's tracks and lyrics and press releases and music releases. And I can chalk that down to the fact that everyone wants to make it in the industry. Let me give you an example of Vicmas Luodola. Vicmas Luodola, I've been receiving his emails from almost 8 years ago. And when he released the remix of Banko Tuch, I went back to my email and found the original song. It is crap. It is bad. But when he met with Octopizzo, so that means he's been in the journey for 8 years. Then he met Octopizzo. Octopizzo listened to his track, and he was like, let's do this. I'll get a guy to do the keyboard, I'll get a guy to do the trumpet sound, I'll get a guy to do this, and the song was perfect. And that's why you guys enjoy Banko Tuch. But for him, he started 8 years ago with no guidance, no nothing. He knew he just wanted to make it in the industry. So he'd always release these songs and send them to everyone on his mailing list, like, hey, listen, these are my songs, these are my songs. But in the end, what that did, that helped him. He had contacts, 8 years worth of contacts. So by the time his song was making it, at least media people knew this is the guy who emails you bad songs. But now the tune has changed. So even though you have McDonald's songs, keep bugging the media people. Let them know there's a guy called Vicmas Luodola and his songs are bad. So that one day when your song is actually big, they'll listen and they'll respect you because they've seen your grind. So don't worry about the bad songs. Do them and send them. You learn by practicing more.
I think also to answer your question is a bit of both, huh? Because there's McDonald's everywhere, even in the US. Huh? If you listen to what the Migos are putting out, it's McDonald's. It's just that it's perfected. The art behind it, the producers, they have such a proper beat behind it, huh? That people now overlook the lyrics and everything else. But then music does not exist in a vacuum. I think it's what's happening in the world everywhere. That's why we have microwaves, so you want to get your food in 2 minutes and it's hot. So it's a microwave culture everywhere, so everything has to be fast. That's why we have Fruity Loops. You can produce beats in like 15, 20 minutes. So it's everywhere, but it depends on how you package it. Because the US, they're doing McDonald's music right now. The hip-hop has become McDonald's because I can't compare the hip-hop I listened to in Tupac and when Jay-Z was starting and the Migos right now. Migos is now doing McDonald's music, but they're selling. You see, the brands they're generating numbers, and the brands are putting their money in there because the brands are going for what DJ Space described here. They want someone who takes them quicker to the demographic. So it's a bit of both. Then there are guys now like Bob Marley who did songs that are still being listened to right now. and it's proper music, you know, and it will stand the test of time. So there's Amigos who just wants to get his money and out, and he monetizes it perfectly. So there's McDonald's, and it's working for them in the short run. In the long term, what do they want of it? They want to make their money, live. There are guys who want to stay in the business and also, you know, sell their music and make their music send some messages. So it depends. It's a bit of everything in there right now, if you ask me.
Space, you had something to say?
So, for me, it's tricky. Having a musical, or being a musician, and my background coming from music training, I've had this conversation all the time. And then you come to work with brands, like he said, and then when you realize, we just want to get our product out there. We don't care if you have a symphony on your track, or you have an orchestra that's going to play at the bridge. You know, let's just do a very quick research. Okay, so the guys who love hip-hop. Okay, so Go Shorty is, you want to party like it's, that's as McDonald's as it gets. It didn't even take 3 seconds. That's what music business has become. It's more about the brand. If your brand affinity is off the roof, and you look like you're going to get us from point A to B as a client, we'll partner with you. You get? Now, if we try to drop lyrics here from maybe Sam Smith's song, only the chicks are going to sing. The dudes are going to be like, you get? So, I think we're 6 or 7 billion guys in this world. I don't think, in my opinion, there's a good or bad musician. There's a musician who's just perfected their product to who they're targeting. That could be Luo, Vic Masdola. There is a Sauti Sol, there's a Nyashinsky, you know, there's Migos. But guys, we know him. And we will not close doors for him. So I think having a content or quality conversation is very tricky. You know, it just depends who you're targeting. If I'm targeting elite guys from Loresho or Spring Valley or Kitisuru, then I'm going to make sure my track has to sound like this. Those are guys who are exposed to a particular type of musician or content. You get? If I'm going to target guys from East Lando, then Matipito is going to work for sure. And Timmy doesn't care. You get? You got your space, so occupy your space. I got my space. You know, Kali is going to drop Omolo, and his guys are going to sing lyrics from A to Z. You'll not sit his guys in a room like this and now try to tell the guys, Calligraph is not a musician. You will not hold this forum to tell them that. I think there's freedom. Let guys consume what they want as long as we have a benchmark of quality. We can define and say, okay, as a TV station, as a radio station, as a publicist, this is what we're not going to go down below. So the mix has to be right. You know, the lyrics don't cast because we won't play it. You know, the master has to be something, you know. We can establish general, you know, criteria. But in terms of going deep into lyrics and trying to say, hey, dude, guys, you'd be surprised. Some of the highest selling artists in this country on Skiza or other platforms where guys are downloading. It's not music that you guys have on phones. But there's a guy in Kerugoya who has all those songs, has all those CDs in the house. So you're going to tell that guy, don't listen to this. Listen to Sauti Sol. No, he doesn't care. You get? You listen to your guys, I listen to my guys. And the same thing goes here. There are guys who you have on your phones. There's some jams I'll drop, and I don't care if you like them. It's just my preference. Music is consumed universally. It's a personal preference.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. So I'm going to take more questions, and I'm also going to request my panelists to keep it short and snappy because we are apparently running out of time. I was going to say town. What the hell? And then there's another panel discussion, which is actually on the noise pollution. Pretty interesting, and what's been happening around town, DJs and artists being arrested. So I'll ask you to introduce yourself and where you're from, and then ask your question.
Hi. So I'm John from Madaraka Estate. Not so good at public speaking, but my question goes to Jinx and Steve. Actually, I have two questions. So I'm in college. I'm a fourth year in college. I've been doing music for 4 years, production. And I can't say we've been popping, but on SoundCloud, we managed to pick like 1,000 plays or I don't know, whatever. So how do you go next level from like 1,000 to, because it's hard getting 1,000 plays on SoundCloud. It's hard getting 100 plays. So how do you go to the next level with regards to radio or trace? And my other question goes to my brother who works at Idol, the distribution company. When, like, what criteria do you use to like releasing songs? Like, how do you release songs? What's the right time? What's the right criteria of releasing music? Because you just don't wake up one day and like, yeah, that's my question.
When you say production, you've been putting beats online or you've been producing songs?
I've been doing this for like 4 years. So I started putting beats online. Then like me and my guy hooked up, started making songs. The songs are alright. The songs are dope for sure. I believe in my songs.
Cool.
So like how do you go to the next level, like to the HBR and to the trace? By the way, shout out to Jinx. Go check out his podcast, Unpopular Opinion. He's a really cool guy.
All right. You're already on the right track. You're on social media. You got 1,000 on SoundCloud. People just need to tell me about you. That's all. That's the trick of social media. Have a street team. Back in the day, you'd need a street team in the literal streets. Now the streets are on the internet. So create a community around the internet. Have people, have genuine fans. If it's good, it's connecting, and the people will empower you. It's all in the power is always with the people.
Just a second. Actually, for sure, me and my guys, we have a team like of 8 guys. We've been spamming your email for over 2 years, so like check your mail. For sure, this is the truth. Like if Jinx checks his email right now. I've emailed him over 20 times, and my guys.
I think he's on the hot seat, so I'm gonna give him a minute to think about that. But I want to let you know one thing. Think about also other stations. Think about other shows on Homeboys, because Homeboys is a diverse station. Like there's some hip hop songs which could be playing in the morning, although like the evening show obviously is like 100% fully hip hop. So, and Capital FM has a hip hop show, so you always have to. Now I'm teaching you how to think as a PR person or as a publicist. It's because someone is busy. It's like if you're emailing Steve or even Jinx, like, can you imagine how many people are emailing them? So sometimes I personally take even 3 months to respond to an email or to have time to read, because I still have my work to do. I have things to read. I have blogs to go through and check. So sometimes you must also give somebody maybe the benefit of doubt, like maybe he's busy or something, but that doesn't mean that you stop your business. That doesn't mean that your song can't be heard. But what it means is, as you're chasing after Jinx, you have to be trying to chase at somebody else, even his producer. Because I came to find out that sometimes like artists or even PR people, we just kind of call the presenter and you're like, put me on your show. Sometimes it's not just the presenter, but there's like a program controller, there's like a producer. So sometimes even there's somebody who schedules in the music. So the presenter doesn't have a problem like playing the music, but by the time they come into the station, it's not even been put in the system, so there's nothing you can do. But the moment you get into the system, you're lucky, like you can just check and find you. So I think it's very important to not just be like, I gotta be on this show, but you have to be like, every single station must listen to my song, until they probably tell you, we only play Swahili songs and yours is English, or we don't play slow songs, only fast songs. Jinx, can you talk now?
Yeah, sure. So like what I said is the absolutely truth. You can email me all you want, but the truth is, when the people want it, I'll give it to them. That's the era we're in. Social media runs things. Build your fan base. You have access to people. You can put in some money on Instagram to boost your post on Facebook. Build your buzz. And I'll have to rock with you. I have no choice. Make it that I have no choice.
So very quickly, I think you're lucky you had someone like me sitting where I sit. Because my loyalty is always to the underground music. So when we started Trace Mziki, there's one policy I made clear to my team. The best art will always be played on Trace Mziki. Okay? It doesn't matter whether you are Sauti Soul or you are, an underground artist. I told my team, and we created a music team. So it's like it's a committee of 3 people. These 3 people have to agree that the song makes it on the playlist. So even me as Steve, if you come to me, I cannot put your music on the playlist. These 3 people have to agree. And I told them one thing. If you, as an underground artist, has a good video and a good audio, you will make it on the playlist. Over and above, say a big artist like Nyashinsky, if he doesn't have a good track on the day. So it's the best man wins. And that is why the ratings of the channel have shot up, because the best art makes it to the top. And normally for me, I do a check every now and then. What Anyiko says is very true. I personally get 400 emails a day. So in 3 days, if I don't read it, it's like what, 1,200? But I always go randomly and check the emails. I will always open the tracks and see, and then I will ask the music team, did you look at this track? I think it's a good track. What do you guys think about it? So at Trace Music, the policy is the best art wins. So keep your product out there, push it, make sure you have a good video, you believe in your audio, and it's tricky. It's not like radio. You know, radio is about audio. For Trace Music, it's TV, so we look at the video quality as well. But now, the good thing is, technology has brought everything down. You can shoot a great video on a phone. There are phones that now can do 4K. So it depends. So you can do a great video and a great audio, and you make it. That's how it works for us.
Okay, so thank you so much, Steve. I hope you've got some answers. I think what I want to tell you guys, because we want to wrap up, and I feel like there's still sentiments flowing and ideas and whatnot. I mean, we're still around. I'm still around. So anybody who wants to talk to me, I'm just going to be hovering around the hall. And while these professionals are here, like, you're not going to see them often. So I would suggest that you should follow them and probably, you know, give your song or take their card. So we've come to the end of this panel discussion. I don't know if there's just like one person who has a question. I'll only take one. And then I'll let all the panelists kind of give a vote of thanks and just give a parting shot on the one thing you must probably put on your brand or on your project or business to become rich and famous in 2018. So just one question. Yes?
Hi.
Introduce yourself, yes?
My name is Lloyd. I'm a producer and artist. And you got me slacking when you asked me about the Jay-Z. However, Virginie, I saw your bag, and I really resonate with the don't believe the hype culture. However, the whole day we've been here, we've all been talking about the hype. All about hype. And ironically, yesterday I was reading a finance rule of sorts that money loves attention. And like we're talking about how to be rich, become rich and famous in 2018. So I'd really love, not each and every one of us will catch you outside, to maybe say more about the don't believe the hype. Because assuming I came for an audition over here, and I don't have a strong willpower, and I didn't make the audition, I wasn't called out. I walk around and maybe I see someone and they're like, oh, don't believe the hype. I'll definitely, if I'm not strong, I'll just go home thinking, it's just hype. To hell with it. Tomorrow, not so many people, ironically, I love music so much. There's nothing I will do without, I just do music the whole day. But you have low moments and you have high moments, yeah? Everybody, each and every creator, I'm sure, has experienced this. And sometimes you just take a breather, because of the hype. Sometimes I'm online, I'm like, too much hype. It's not for me. Maybe I'm conserved. Out there, it's extreme hype, and that's what's the whole entertainment it's all about. So kindly just speak on that, maybe. Thank you.
Don't believe the hype?
Yeah, don't believe the hype.
Yeah, I fully agree with you about the hype everywhere. It's quite complicated now for an artist because there are almost 4 million of artists in the world. So and we talked about the noise, everywhere, because it's extremely complicated to just create your brand and create your visibility, because you have to deal with 4 million artists everywhere in the world. That's why when I say don't believe the hype, for me, it's what I said about social media. I don't really have solutions about how to become rich and famous in 2018. I would love to know, for me first, especially about rich, Famous, I don't care, but rich, yeah, I would be happy to know. But it's just that it's too easy to fall into hype. It's too easy to use all the social networks and all the social media because someone told you that you have to be on Instagram and that you have to be on Twitter and that you have to be on YouTube and you have to be on Facebook and blah, blah, blah and everything. No, I don't believe at all in being everywhere. I think that you have to just understand what is your favorite social media and to use it. I don't think also that you have to post every day. I don't think that you have to post video every day. I don't think that you have to post contents every day. Because if you create contents, if you create video every day, it means that you lose something, what you are, and you lose your creativity and your artistic side. So for me, don't believe the hype means that you just have to follow your path and you don't have to just follow the buzz. You know, I don't know if you have the same thing in Kenya, but in Europe we have what we call the influencer and what we call the tech evangelist or the buzz master or whatever. And for me, it's the worst part of the buzz. It's just that create your brand, take your time. We had a question about McDonald's and it was McDonald's and long term. I don't remember. It's, for example, you don't have Spotify in Kenya, but in Europe and in the US, it's almost impossible to have visibility if you are not on Spotify. And if you are not in a playlist on Spotify, you won't get any visibility, nothing. It's almost impossible. So that's why a lot of artists are creating now and are changing their songs just to be in a playlist. It's crazy. For example, they are deleting the intro of the song just to follow the test of the listeners. And for me, it's awful. So don't believe the hype is, you don't care about social media. I mean, you have to, but don't be on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and everything. Just follow your best social media, and don't change your artistic view because you just want to be in a playlist. That's it. For me, what means don't believe the hype.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, and to you, our beautiful audience. So on behalf of Jinx, Thibault, Virginie, DJ Space, Kerongo, Steve and Team Trace, Anyiko and Team Anyiko PR, I thank you all for coming, and we really hope that you have been inspired to be rich and famous in 2018. And more than inspired, we hope that you've kind of learned small things here and there on what you can do on your brand, on your business, in your music, in your production. And we've come to the end of this beautiful discussion. So kindly put your hands together for all the panelists. I've been your host, Anyiko, and asanteni sana. Thank you, Team ONGEA.